Redistricting is one big issue facing lawmakers this session, but first, they need numbers from the Census Bureau. The count was supposed to be presented to the president last month. Now, it's pushed back to February 9th, and it could be delayed even further. Maggie Glynn explains why this may force state lawmakers to return to the Capitol this summer to draw new voting lines.
It's fundamental because it creates the basis in which people vote for their legislative representatives.
The U.S. Constitution requires the redrawing of congressional districts every 10 years, known as redistricting.
It's through this process that principles like one person, one vote, equality of representation are all, and the sanctity of elections are all preserved.
It's based on the census, but the Census Bureau missed its year-end deadline to present its base count to the president.
Already providing contingencies for, another delay.
The data the state depends on for redistricting typically comes out in the spring.
And that's normally April 1st is the statutory deadline, but that could come substantially later.
And with the regular session ending on May 31st,
increases the probability that the legislature will not get even the state level redistricting done during the regular session.
The Texas Legislative Council says if the data is not available until the summer, a special session might be needed.
The governor controls that, but if you don't, plaintiffs are going to sue that the current districts are invalid. The courts will be faced with the prospect of either allowing the current districts to stay in effect for another election cycle. Generally, there's a lot of reasons to disfavor that, right? Because that's 1/5 of the decade. You've got malapportioned districts. In other words, unequal representation.
Maggie Glynn for State of Texas.
If legislators do receive the data during this session but can't come up with a plan, it could be passed to the Legislative Redistricting Board. That board is comprised of the Lieutenant Governor, the House Speaker, the Attorney General, the Land Commissioner, and the State Comptroller. They would have 90 days to convene and 60 days to adopt a plan.
There's a lot of frustration out there.
Frustration with the state's vaccine rollout has state lawmakers looking for answers from the governor. How a plan one city has in place could be a model to get the vaccine to more Texans.